losing weight by changing how you think about restricting food. In previous video, I shared why we are afraid of restriction and that not all diets and food restrictions are harmful for our mental health and for our relationships with foods and bodies. In this video, I'll share how to approach boundaries with compassion, how to find meaning in saying no to food, some food, unnecessary food, and how even to tolerate a mild hunger without later spiraling into binging and overeating. I'll also share my personal story, and I am Olga Onoshenko. I'm a psychotherapist, nutritionist, and I've got a PhD from University of Sheffield Management School. And on this channel, I share information about psychological aspects of weight loss, relationships with ourselves, our bodies, food, and other people. So click subscribe because the information I share helps you to lose weight in a compassionate, sustainable way. And it is based on scientific evidence and my 10 years of experience working with people, helping them to lose weight. So let's start with my own story. I went a long way from harsh restrictions, losing weight to the point where I lost my period and my hair started falling out, and then not restricting at all and gaining weight, and the period of bulimia and binge eating. And in short, I moved from harsh dieting, from being very harsh on myself, to more flexible dieting and sort of intuitive eating, because at some point I learned that if we restrict, we then lose control. And this is actually not evidence-based. Not everyone who restricts loses control later. It's about how we restrict and why we restrict. But being illusioned, I started practicing intuitive eating and I let myself eat everything and anything. And to be honest, that worked, because I also learned to tolerate cravings in parallel to this, so I didn't gain much weight. But I still gained weight outside of what was comfortable for me. Again, I have never been overweight. My BMI was always healthy. My fat percent has been always healthy, apart those days in my 20s when I was so much fat that my hair fell down and fell out and my female hormones didn't work. I lost period. But even when I achieved sort of peace with food, my life quality didn't get bad. I still didn't like myself in the mirror. I still didn't have amazing relationships with food, although I realized that Cadbury eggs for Easter are not tasty at all. They're terrible compared to earlier years of eating disorder when they were forbidden and therefore seemed so tasty and I craved them so much. And be sure that I will not overeat. I can trust myself with food. But this was not always like that. And just letting myself eat everything and anything, also known as unconditional permission to eat, didn't solve my life problems. I still didn't like my body. I still would overeat from time to time. And what I was doing, I was tolerating my body dissatisfaction, because I learned that negative body image is harmful. So I sort of need to accept my body as it is and sort of try to do my best to eat the best way I can, but without restrictions, without hunger, without limitations. And there is some conflict, right? And in my own therapy, I discovered a revolutionary idea. Restriction isn't always a problem. It's how we approach it. It's useful to find a new meaning and look at restriction from a different perspective. Not from perspective of I need to restrict because I'm not good enough, because I'm not thin enough, because I need to be better, but because I'm good enough, but because I am already good enough and worthy enough, and I accept myself and my body, but I want to get leaner, but this is not my life priority and this is not a demand. This is my preference. So what can be a leading motivation to restrict food? I'm now going to suggest you 6 different ideas. Not all ideas will resonate with you, but maybe you will find some good ideas for motivation outside of trying to fix yourself by restricting food. So first, restricting food is a way to build virtue. We all have our weaknesses, and if we take religious fasts, why are they done? One of the reasons is that it teaches people to overcome their weaknesses. It's not only about food, it can be any other weakness. And restricting develops our virtues. And this is something that brings moral satisfaction. So I restrict myself and I do not feel deprived. I feel morally satisfied because I overcame my weakness. I overcame a voice of enemy in my head. Like today, I really didn't want to go for a jog, for a run, but I registered that voice that was telling me, go for coffee. You don't want to run. I registered that voice as a voice of enemy, and I went to run because I know, and I went for a jog because I know that if I do it, I will feel better. I will be more productive. I will film a better video. I will feel better about myself. I will feel more energy. And yes, at the moment I can feel lazy and not motivated to run, but I know that I will do better. It will be better for myself. And not only I felt indeed better after running, I also felt moral satisfaction because I won a battle with my inner enemy. Second idea is achieving a desired state, because a feeling of lightness can be pleasant after eating. You don't have to stuff yourself, you don't have to feel heavy. How about chasing a feeling of lightness after meal? Slight hunger can be enjoyable. Slight calorie deficit can give you energy. You do not overload your digestive system. You do not feel sleepy when you're working with clients online. I'm talking about me, myself. A little bit of hunger actually keeps you alert. It doesn't mean you need to feel hunger all the time, 24/7. It doesn't mean that if you eat to fullness and maybe even 8 or 9 on the hunger satiety scale from 0 to 10, 10 being stuffed, like totally stuffed and feeling sick. Even if I go to the restaurant and have a really nice meal and feel a little full, a little uncomfortable, this will not be the end of the world. But as a default state, I'm searching for lightness. And lightness only possible if I don't overeat. And if I do not eat when I'm not hungry. So chasing a certain state, physical and mental state. Not because I want to be the leanest woman in the room. Third, looking at restriction as the form of self-care. You probably have heard about this idea. If I care for my body, I will not have a second chocolate bar. I will get probably half of chocolate bar and stop, because I know that if I eat more, I will have problems with digestion, I will feel sluggish, I will feel emotionally bad, because yes, sometimes the feeling of guilt or regret can be useful if it doesn't turn into self-attacking and beating yourself up. So you choose portions or types of food out of respect for your body, not out of hating your body. Take a moment and think how that would impact your choices. What would I eat if I respect my body and also respect myself and actually want to feel satisfied? I will probably not eat chicken breast and broccoli. I would cook myself delicious, healthy, balanced meal and will eat as much as needed to feel my best, to satisfy my hunger, to satisfy my energy needs, and to feel amazing. And if you feel the most amazing when you feel heavy and stuffed, this advice, ignore this advice. And I'm not blaming you, that also can be normal. Fourth, looking at restriction as applying a conscious choice versus running on autopilot. You don't want to do anything on autopilot. You want to be aware, right? You want to be conscious and mindful and make mindful decisions every time you make any decision. So apply this to food. Think before you eat. Create a structure the structure can help break the cycle of mindless eating. What structure am I talking about? For example, 3 meals and 1 snack at certain time of the day, plus minus 1 hour. The structure should be flexible, of course, but sticking to structure can be really therapeutic and can really switch on mindfulness, so that you do not snack mindlessly between meals unless this is your planned snack between lunch and dinner, for example. 5th, restriction as making room for other joys in life. Less overeating, less thoughts about food, more energy equals more energy for creativity, relationships, and hobbies. And 6, we'll talk about structure again, creating a flexible structure, but also which means having principles like 3 meals a day, balanced plate structured in a certain way, but allowing you to eat spontaneously without feeling guilty. So what's the difference between conscious choice, where I also mentioned that this can be structure? Conscious choice, it's more about breaking from mindless eating. And point 6, flexible structure is more about flexible structure as self-care, as a way to see where things are going wrong. For example, if I plan not to have a snack between breakfast and lunch, and I do have a snack, and I wasn't hungry, then what happened? Maybe I had a stressful time at work, maybe I was dissatisfied with myself. It's really important to explore, and this is what we are doing in therapy. We are getting deep, we are exploring what exactly is going on. Maybe not deep, but really detailed, really paying attention, really clarifying things. What exactly was going on? Why am I eating when I'm not hungry? And we're training to build structure but to allow for mistakes, for spontaneity, for eating without fear. So, the intention is the key. Are you driven by fear and control, or by care and respect to your body, by wanting the best for yourself, by accepting yourself already, but having a preference to do even better? The exact same habit or practice can be toxic or healing depending on motivation. You can fast for 36 hours because you hate your body, or because you want to see what you're capable of, or you want to feel that lightness and elevation. You can run a marathon, and this can be self-punishment, or it can be, again, seeing what your body can do, or it can give you a desired state of achievement, but not because you're not worthy if you don't run the marathon, and not because this is the only coping strategy you have, running a lot, but also because this is something you enjoy doing and you feel better after. That's it for today. I hope this video was useful. Please check the links below. Any questions, write down in comments. Any feedback, write down in comments below this video, and I'll see you soon.